You probably know a climber who frequently crashes out.
Ah! Dude!
Aside from potentially not being super nice to be around, I'm concerned with how it affects climbing performance. I think the first argument for is it helps regulate your emotions. It might seem counterintuitive, but having an outlet of rage and frustration helps you get rid of those emotions faster and process them so you can go back to being normal. You can see this with Adam Ondra, where he rages and then 5 seconds later he's back to his normal bubbly self. And I think it's useful to have a mechanism to process the sometimes overwhelming emotions climbing gives us. I personally don't tend to be a rager, but I have my own outlet, which is after a frustrating or an emotional session that fills me with a lot of negative thoughts, I'll always go home and journal or write about, or just sit and think about how the session went. I'll always go over in my head or on pen and paper what went badly and how I can improve next time. I think in a more macro sense, the feeling of annoyance and frustration at certain aspects of your climbing is less useful. Here are some examples of wider themes that I personally find frustrating in climbing. Injuries, pumping off easy moves, bad skin, constant rain so that I can't climb outdoors. When I'm feeling a lot of pressure about setting a climb and it makes me mess up and choke, forgetting my sequence on the wall. You can decide yourself whether you think me getting annoyed and frustrated at these things would serve to make me a better climber, but my hunch is that it doesn't. The only thing I can really do to deal with these things is accept them and then think of ways I can combat them, which I would do better with a clear head and not a head that's blinded by rage. Another argument for getting annoyed though is in more of a small scale way. Getting really angry and working yourself up into a frenzy can help with trying 110% on the wall. I found oftentimes the hardest single physical moves I've done after getting really angry and sort of working myself into a state. This is anecdotal, but I bet that it can allow some people definitely to tap into the 5th gear. The caveat though is that while it might be useful for trying hard, I'm not sure it's conducive to trying well. That's why most of the time my preferred tactic is to try and stay calm while I'm climbing. And I only really use this if I'm trying a really short, punchy, physical boulder that isn't very beta intensive. I'd say it's up to you to decide based on what the bottleneck is for you, whether you need to tap into your maximum amount of strength or execution is more what limits you.